Welcome to War Bios, the podcast that delves into the complexities of military history's most pivotal battles. I'm your host, General Biography, and today we're going to explore one of the American Civil War's most brutal and decisive conflicts, the Battle of Franklin, fought on November 30, 1864. This battle, though often overshadowed by more famous engagements, was a crucial turning point in the war, showcasing the strategic brilliance and tactical prowess of the Union Army. The year 1864 had been marked by a series of grueling campaigns as the Confederacy struggled to maintain its grip on the war-torn South. In Tennessee, the Union Army, under the command of Major General William Tecumseh Sherman, had been making steady gains, pushing deep into Confederate territory. In the fall of 1864, Confederate General John Bell Hood, determined to drive the Union Army out of Tennessee, launched a bold campaign to retake Nashville, the state capital. Hood's Army of Tennessee, comprising approximately 40,000 soldiers, marched northwards, intent on confronting the Union forces head-on. The battle would be shaped by the decisions made in the preceding months, from Hood's gamble to march north into Tennessee to the Union Army's defensive preparations around Franklin. Major General John M.U. Schofield, commander of the Union Army of the Ohio, had been tasked with defending the region against Hood's advances. Schofield's forces had been busy constructing earthworks and barricades, preparing for a potential battle in the area. The Union general was well aware of the significance of Franklin, situated as it was at the crossroads of two major roads, the Columbia Pike and the Lewisburg Pike. These roads, which converged in the heart of Franklin, would play a crucial role in the upcoming battle as both armies jockeyed for position and control. In the weeks prior to the battle, both armies engaged in a series of skirmishes and maneuvers as they vied for dominance in the region. On November 22, 1864, Hood's forces clashed with Schofield's army at Spring Hill, just south of Franklin. Although the Confederates gained a tactical advantage, they failed to capitalize on their success, allowing the Union Army to regroup and prepare for the impending battle. As the days passed, the tension in the region grew, with both sides aware that a major confrontation was looming. The residents of Franklin, many of whom had already fled the area, were bracing themselves for the worst. The town's buildings, including its churches and homes, would soon be transformed into makeshift hospitals and fortifications as the two armies prepared to clash in one of the most brutal battles of the Civil War. The city of Franklin itself was a picturesque town nestled along the banks of the Harpeth River. Its rolling hills, verdant pastures, and quaint architecture made it an idyllic setting, far removed from the chaos and destruction that would soon engulf it. Yet, as the armies closed in, the very fabric of this community would be torn apart, leaving an indelible mark on the town and its people. Schofield and the Confederate Army of Tennessee, commanded by General John Bell Hood. The Confederate Army, determined to break through the Union lines and retake Nashville, launched a series of ferocious assaults against the entrenched Union positions. The battle raged on for hours, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. The Union forces, well entrenched behind their earthworks and barricades, were able to repel wave after wave of Confederate attacks. Despite being outnumbered, the Confederates fought valiantly, but their bravery was ultimately unable to overcome the superior Union defenses. As the day wore on, the Confederate Army began to falter, its ranks depleted by the relentless Union artillery fire and the withering volleys of rifle fire from the entrenched Union infantry. One of the most significant moments of the battle came when the Confederates launched a massive assault against the Union center, hoping to break through the lines and gain a decisive advantage. However, this attack was repelled with devastating consequences for the Confederates. The Union artillery, positioned on the high ground behind the earthworks, unleashed a hail of cannon fire that shredded the Confederate ranks, causing widespread destruction and chaos. As the battle drew to a close, it became clear that the Confederates had suffered a crushing defeat. Their army was in shambles, with thousands of soldiers killed or wounded. The Union Army, while also suffering significant losses, had emerged victorious, having successfully defended its positions against the Confederate onslaught. The aftermath of the Battle of Franklin was marked by an eerie silence, punctuated only by the cries of the wounded and the dying. The town itself was left in ruins, its buildings scarred by bullet holes and cannon fire. The streets were littered with the bodies of the dead and the dying, a grim testament to the brutality and ferocity of the battle. The Confederate Army, already reeling from a series of defeats, was dealt a devastating blow, one from which it would never fully recover. The battle also marked a significant milestone in the career of Major General John M.R.M. Schofield, who had demonstrated exceptional tactical acumen and strategic vision in defending his positions against overwhelming odds. In conclusion, the Battle of Franklin was a pivotal moment in the American Civil War, showcasing the bravery and sacrifice of the soldiers who fought on both sides. The Union victory on November 30, 1864, marked a significant turning point in the war, dealing a devastating blow to the Army of Tennessee and paving the way for the eventual collapse of the Confederate forces. In the aftermath of the battle, General John Bell Hood's Army of Tennessee was left reeling, its ranks depleted by the staggering losses suffered at Franklin. The Army's morale was at an all-time low, with many soldiers questioning the leadership and strategic decisions that had led to such a disastrous outcome. Despite these challenges, Hood attempted to regroup and reorganize his forces, hoping to launch a final, desperate bid to retake Nashville and salvage the Confederate cause in Tennessee. However, the Union Army was not about to let the Confederates recover from their defeat so easily. Major General John M. Schofield, now confident in his ability to defend against Hood's army, began to push forward, driving the Confederates back towards Nashville. On December 15, 1864, the two armies clashed again at the Battle of Nashville, resulting in another crushing Union victory. The Confederate Army was all but destroyed, with thousands of soldiers killed, wounded, or captured. The fall of Nashville marked a significant milestone in the war, as it gave the Union control over the strategic city and its vital transportation infrastructure. The Confederacy's ability to wage war was severely crippled, as its armies were now cut off from their supply lines and unable to coordinate their efforts effectively. In the months that followed, the Union Army launched a series of campaigns aimed at destroying the remaining Confederate strongholds. The Battle of Bentonville in March 1865 marked one of the last major conflicts of the war, as Union forces under General William T.T. Sherman defeated a combined force of Confederate troops under General Joseph E. Johnston. The Confederacy situation was now hopeless, with its armies in disarray and its leadership struggling to maintain control. On April 9, 1865, General Robert E. Lee surrendered his Army of Northern Virginia to General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse, effectively ending the Civil War. The Confederacy's defeat was now complete, with its armies defeated, its economy in shambles, and its people exhausted by years of conflict. The bravery and sacrifice of the soldiers who fought on both sides will always be remembered, as will the strategic vision and tactical acumen of leaders like Major General John M. Schofield, who played a crucial role in securing the Union victory. In conclusion, the Battle of Franklin was a defining moment in American history, showcasing the devastating consequences of war and the resilience of the human spirit. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, I'm General Biography, reminding you to keep marching toward victory.